20 years ago, the world was destroyed because of the spread of monsters called kabane, who are basically humans transformed into zombie-like creatures, but they have metallic hearts protected by an extremely strong layer, and because of that it's almost impossible for anyone to kill them. And the remaining people alive are living inside massive fortified stations, and traveling between them is done through armored trains called Hyajiro because the monsters are spread everywhere. And we meet our protagonist Ikoma, and he is an inventor and mechanic, trying to develop a weapon that can pierce the kabane's heart, because he believes humanity is living in fear and weakness the entire time, and he wants to save mankind. And one day, we see one of the trains moving at an extremely high speed, carrying a group of people, who suddenly get attacked by the kabane, and everyone inside the train starts attacking them, and one of the kabane is about to kill a girl on board. But luckily one of the train crew members reaches her and saves her, and the battle between the humans and the kabane trying to invade the train from every direction continues, and unfortunately one of the crew members gets infected by a kabane injury, and suddenly he finds all his friends surrounding him, and ordering him to commit suicide immediately, before the virus spreads through his body, because then they would be forced to kill him themselves, and the young man finally gives up and places the suicide weapon against his heart, and pulls the cord and the weapon explodes and kills him. At the same time Ikoma is inside his house, trying to create a weapon capable of destroying the kabane, and when he tries testing it he discovers it still isn't strong enough, so he feels extreme frustration, because he wishes he could kill the kabane who were responsible for his mother's death. And the next day Ikoma goes to the train maintenance station, because he works there as a mechanic, and he meets his friend Takumi who asks him about the weapon he is trying to create. So Ikoma tells him that until now he still couldn't reach a good result. Every time he tests the weapon he finds it extremely weak, and it won't be able to reach the zombie's heart. So Takumi tells him, what do you think about increasing the amount of explosives inside the weapon? So the idea shines inside Ikoma's eyes, and he decides to immediately go apply it. And before he moves from the place, Princess Ayam, the daughter of the Bushi leader, enters on them. And those Bushi are a group of people who decided to fight the kabane themselves, so the workshop owner welcomes her, and she asks him for someone to check why her rifle isn't working, and among all the workers he calls for Ikoma, so he gets very annoyed because he doesn't even like the Bushi. But he is forced to obey and go take the rifle from her so he can inspect it. And afterward the workshop owner orders the workers to open the station, because the Kotetsujo train has arrived, so Ayam becomes surprised because of that train, and they learn that the train increased its traveling speed because of a zombie attack against them, and they inspect the passengers to make sure none of them got bitten. And after the inspection they begin maintaining the train, and during the inspection Ikoma finds a zombie heart and takes it because it is a rare sample, so Takumi warns him but Ikoma ignores him, and a strange girl named Mumi gets off the train before anyone can inspect her, so the guard yells at her so she can return to the train and get inspected, so the leader Kensho interferes, and tells him that she is his guest, and she will not undergo inspection, and he tells them she is the daughter of an important wealthy family. And suddenly a terrified person comes out of the train, screaming and saying I am not a zombie. But nobody believes him, and they surround him with rifles, so Ikoma runs and stops them before they kill him, and stands in front of the rifle and tells them, you created a law saying that suspicious people are imprisoned for 3 days under surveillance, but of course none of them listens to his words, and they push him away and hit him violently, so the zombie heart he found falls from his bag. So they become terrified and point their weapons at him, so the man they were surrounding takes advantage of the situation and escapes, so they shoot him with bullets and kill him, and when they find him dead they realize he actually wasn't a corpse. So Ikoma becomes furious and blames them for what they did, and those words do not please the Bushi leader Kensho, so he orders them to imprison him because of the insults he said, and Kurusu the leader's personal guard goes and strikes Ikoma with a rifle over his head so he loses consciousness, and they take him and leave the place. So Ayam becomes upset because of what her father is doing, so he tells her that it is the Bushi's duty to protect order, but she doesn't like those words. And during the night, Ikoma is inside prison, and his friends are sitting with him, so Mume sneaks out from their palace, and leaves and goes to Ikoma inside prison, and asks him did you know that the man killed this morning wasn't a zombie? So he tells her no but I couldn't ignore it. The Bushi do nothing except kill innocent people because of fear. And at the same time the bridge guards find a train heading toward them at very high speed, so they signal for it to slow down but they receive no response. So they quickly run and close the bridge, but it is already too late. That train carries an extremely huge number of kabane on board. So the guards try escaping quickly, but the train crashes into the bridge and explodes, and the kabane invade the city and a state of panic happens, so they ring the bells and announce a state of emergency, and all the city residents try escaping quickly, but unfortunately the zombies spread through the city extremely fast, and because of that the king decides to reach the train station before the rest of the people, and secure the place there so he can transport his daughter and the remaining residents safely. And on the other side Mumi gives Ikoma the key, and tells him go handle the situation quickly. So Ikoma heads toward the house so he can get his weapon, and injures himself and leaves blood in front of his house, because the kabane are attracted to blood, and enters and makes the modification Takumi told him about and waits for a zombie to attack him so he can test it. And suddenly the zombie drops down on him from the ceiling, and he becomes terrified, so he fires a shot into its heart. And luckily it pierces through it and the zombie dies, so Ikoma becomes happy that his weapon worked, but the happiness doesn't last because he discovers he got infected. And the infection starts spreading through his body extremely quickly, and despite the danger threatening his life, he neither fears nor surrenders, and decides to face the fate forced upon him, and heats a piece of coal and places it onto the infected area, and uses a special device he had created for this moment, and grabs his arm where the infection exists, and strangles himself using an iron bracelet, so he can prevent the virus from reaching his brain, because as long as the infection doesn't reach the infected person's brain, he will remain human and won't transform into a zombie. And Ikoma tries with all his strength to resist the virus, and remembers his mother who was eaten by the kabane. And at the final moment before the virus completely overtakes him, Ikoma resists and defeats the virus, and it disappears from his body. And on the other side we see Mume escaping with her servant whose name is Shiman, and he tells Mumi, "You must continue alone from now on because I got infected by the virus," and sits on the ground and uses the suicide weapon and ends his life. So Mume continues her path, and suddenly finds a zombie standing before her, and the moment it tries getting close to her, Mume manages to kill it very easily. And Ikoma wakes up after losing consciousness, and his appearance has changed and even his hair color changed, yet he is happy that he succeeded in creating the weapon. And Takumi enters on him while worried about him, and when he finds the zombie he becomes even more terrified and asks Ikoma, "Are you okay?" So Ikoma gets excited and tells him the weapon succeeded and I was the one who killed this zombie using it. So he becomes excited too, but gets shocked when Ikoma tells him the zombie bit me, and tells him our discovery was right. If the virus doesn't reach the brain I won't transform into a zombie. And at the same time all the village residents are gathered together, and trying to eliminate the zombies before them, but the zombies are extremely strong, and manage to kill some of them. So everyone decides to move toward the train. So Ayam tries stopping them, because her father still hasn't given the signal, and an argument happens between them and Mume enters on them and mocks them. So one of the standing people becomes extremely angry, and approaches her so he can move her away, but Mume strikes him quickly and throws him onto the ground. So they all become shocked by her strength, and she asks them, "Does anyone here know how to drive the train?" So a girl named Yukina Iwa responds to her. So Mume tells them, "I will open the path for you so you can reach there easily," and jumps toward the cabane and stands checking her weapons and the direction of the wind. And one of the zombies approaches her from behind, so Mume quickly turns and cuts off its head, and all the zombies begin attacking them. And all the people take advantage of the opportunity and head toward the train, and Mume continues fighting the cabane without fear, and with her weapons she shoots their hearts and pierces them, and uses anything she finds and places it inside their hearts and explodes them, and dodges them and climbs buildings. So all the people become shocked by her skills and cannot comprehend what she is doing. And Mumai eliminates the final zombie, but an old man zombie appears behind her. So she avoids the zombie's strike and jumps onto a house wall and circles behind the zombie and ties its leg and pulls it. So the zombie falls onto a metal pole that pierces its heart, and Mume fires a bullet at it and eliminates it. And on the other side Ikoma and Takumi are on their way toward the train, and Ikoma cannot stop talking because of the excitement he is feeling, and when they arrive the guards insist on inspecting them before they board the train, and before Ikoma removes his clothes Takumi stops him, because if they discover he is one of the Kaban they will eliminate him. And suddenly while they are standing, two zombies appear before them, and a state of panic happens among the people, so Ikoma decides to use the opportunity so he can show everyone his weapon. But unfortunately he doesn't get his chance, because Mumi eliminates them very easily, and the moment she sees Ikoma she becomes surprised, and asks him, "Did something change inside you? I feel that you are no longer an ordinary human." And the remaining people reach the train after Mume helped them. So Kurusu points at Ikoma, and tells him, "You were supposed to be inside prison?" So Ikoma replies, "If I had stayed there I would already be dead now." So he tells him, "And you may have already transformed into a zombie. And that's why you managed to escape from the cell." But Mume stops him and tells him, "You are mistaken, he is not a zombie." So Kurusu allows him to enter the train. And Ayam enters and places the train key and turns it on, and Mumi enters on them. So Kurusu tells Mume to go toward the end of the train so she can protect it from the zombies. But Mume refuses and sits on the ground and covers herself with the robe and sleeps, and strangely weird marks appear on her face. And before the train moves from the station, suddenly the Kaban appear again and chase them, and one of the ship's steam pipes breaks and explodes. But before it kills anyone, Ikoma manages to catch it and return it back into place easily, so Takumi touches it after him and his hand gets burned, and he becomes surprised how it didn't affect Ikoma. And the next surprise is that one of the Kabane inserts its head through an opening in the door, so Ikoma finds it a chance to show the people his weapon, so he opens the door for it and manages to kill the zombie using it, and he is at the highest stage of happiness because of the achievement he made, but when he looks at the people he becomes shocked that they are all staring at him in shock, and notices that his heart is glowing like the Kabane's heart. And Ikoma himself becomes shocked and even Takumi becomes afraid of him. So Ikoma tries explaining to them that he is still a normal human, but nobody believes him at all, and Kurusu enters on them and becomes shocked when he hears the news from the people, and goes toward Ikoma and tells him, "I should have killed you from the beginning." and pulls out his weapon and fires bullets at Ikoma, and throws him outside the train. And afterward one of the watchers calls Kurusu and tells him there are some Kaban ahead of us, and when Kurusu goes out to see them, he becomes shocked by what he sees, and finds Ayam wanting to go out and see what is happening outside. But Kurusu prevents her, but Ayam ignores his words and comes out by force, and becomes shocked when she sees that her father transformed into a zombie, and Kurusu tries calming her down, and tells her the one outside is not your father is already dead, and now you are the queen of the city, and from now on you must become responsible. And when they reach the station Yukina tries closing the bridge, but the rails do not respond because of a zombie hand, and all the Kabane reach the station and surround the train and break the water tank, and that causes the train to stop and they cannot restart the engines again. So Kurusu decides to go out and close the bridge himself, so they try stopping him because if he goes out he will not be able to handle the Kabane alone. And at that moment one of the watchers tells them come look at what is happening outside quickly. There is a human among the Kabane, and they all become shocked when they see Ikoma fighting the Kabane outside and killing them using his weapon. And Ikoma tries proving to them that the man they abandoned is sacrificing himself for them, and goes so he can close the bridge for them, and everyone feels guilty because of what they did. So Ayam tells them we must help him, but Kurusu prevents her, and Ikoma actually succeeds in closing the bridge and the train moves again and they leave him behind their backs and continue moving. So Ikoma falls onto the ground and cries intensely, and becomes very sad about his condition, but before he loses hope, suddenly Takumi comes out and throws him a rope so he can pull him, and the people try stopping Takumi from taking him with them, and when Ikoma sees them in that condition, he decides not to hold the rope, so he doesn't cause any harm to his friend. But suddenly Mume jumps down from the train, and mocks him because he is crying, and ties the rope around his leg and tells Takumi pull him. So all the passengers become angry at her because she saved Ikoma despite him transforming into a zombie, and Kurusu throws the suicide tool toward Ikoma and points his weapon at him, and tells him if there is still a human part inside you then commit suicide, so everyone can live. So Mume interferes and tells them he is not a zombie, and removes her jacket, and shows them the same virus mark that Ikoma has, and tells them we are half zombies. So Kurusu points his weapon at them, and tells her all I understand is that you are not humans. So she replies if you are my enemy then I will kill you, and throws a bullet at him with her hand so he blocks it, and Ayam enters on them and orders them to stop what is happening, and tells Kurusu without them we would already be dead by now. But he insists on his opinion, and strangely Akama agrees with him, and tells them my existence here is dangerous to everyone. So Mumi hits him and tells him you are not a zombie, you are a half zombie. Your body is a zombie body but your mind is a human mind. And afterward Mume asks this train is heading toward the Shogun Fortress Kongokaku, right? So she tells her yes, and Mumai decides that she will continue the journey with them, because her goal from the beginning was to go there. And on the next day they distribute the food that will be enough for them, until they arrive, and at the same time Ikoma sees the same nightmare about the day his mother died. So he wakes up and finds Mume before him, and she tells him your wounds healed quickly because you are a half zombie. So he asks her you said you are going to Kongokaku. So she tells him because I promised Shiman and I cannot tell you details but I am on an important mission, and asks him why are you interested in Kongokaku. So he tells her they are the people most researching the Kabane subject and they might do something about this half-zombie issue. And that doesn't mean I believe your half-zombie story. And if I remain inside this carriage for 3 days that will prove that my mind is truly still human. So Mume decides that he will come with her inside the Kotetsujo train and become a shield for her, and that is because when Mume fights a lot she feels sleepy, so she needs someone to protect her then, so Ikoma becomes angry because she decides by herself, so with one strike she knocks him onto the ground and tells him you want to go to Kongokaku, right? Get up then so we can begin training, and starts hitting him so she can train him to become a shield for her. And on the other side the bushi around the princess ask her how can you leave a Kaban with us inside the train, and tell her you must expel them. So she replies they promised us that they would stay inside the final carriage, but the bushi refuse to believe that this will happen and still remain afraid, so she asks them in surprise, don't you feel any gratitude toward them even after they saved you? And some people whose families died enter on them and want to stop the train so they can hold a funeral for them. And at the same time Mume continues hitting Ikoma and teaching him how to block her strikes, so he tells her just because you know how to do this doesn't mean the matter is easy, so she tells him calm down, I haven't even removed the strap around my neck. So he asks her what is the purpose of that, so she tells him it is similar to the one you placed around your neck. But if I remove it I can fight using all my strength. And after some time the curse spread and I started becoming exhausted. And suddenly Mume senses a zombie, so she quickly exits the carriage searching for it, so a state of panic happens inside the train and Mume cannot find the zombie she sensed, so Ikoma tells her you cannot go out, you promised I am, and Kurusu enters on them and points his weapon, and tells them all your words about half-humans are nonsense. surely you want human blood, and before he fires at them I enters, and asks Mume in blame, didn't you promise me? So Mume replies, you won't understand even if I explain to you, and everyone takes advantage of the situation and blames because she allowed them to stay inside the train, and suddenly the maintenance engineer Suzuki enters on them, and tells them the water tank we repaired got damaged again, so it is impossible for us to continue our journey, so they stop the train and Suzuki tells them it will take a day so it can be repaired. And at night they use the opportunity that they are stopped and there are no kaban around them and hold a funeral, and at the same time Mume asks Akama, did someone precious to you die? So he tells her, my family died a very long time ago. So she tells him, me too, and asks him, what is the thing in your right hand, that whenever I hit it my hand hurts? So he removes the glove and tells her this is just an ordinary stone you can find near any river. And one day I found 2 of them and gave one to my sister, but she said each one of us must keep one. And we go back 5 years when the Kaban invaded Ikoma Station, and from extreme fear all the adults escaped and left Ikoma and his family behind them, and the Kabane caught his sister, so Ikoma escaped from fear pretending that he was going to ask for help, but that was just a stupid excuse, and when he returned to her again she was on the ground and about to transform, so he felt guilty because he was a coward and sat screaming, I am sorry, but it was too late, so he exploded her heart so she wouldn't hurt anyone. So in the present Ikoma feels guilty because of his fear back then and hates himself because he abandoned her, so Mume tells him the weak die and the strong live, and at the same time there is a group agreeing together that they will attack Mume and Ikoma, so stops them and tells them they are not our enemies, so they tell her the Kabane are our enemies, and if they attack us we will have no chance, and beg her to allow them to do it. So enters on Mume and Ikoma, and before she speaks Mume tells her your friends are angry and I don't mind if they want war, and runs quickly outside and stands before them. So she tells them the weak should not pretend to be strong. So Ikoma tries stopping her, so she tells him they are the ones who provoked me. So a person starts inciting them and tells them, did you see? The Kaban are our enemies and we must protect our families. So screams at them and Mume decides to retreat. And on the other side there is a woman named Shino and she is pregnant. So her heart starts beating and glowing like the Kaban and she cries and apologizes to the child inside her belly, because she will not be able to give birth to him. And afterward one of the infants cries, so Kajika, who is responsible for caring for the passengers, tries calming him and cannot. So Mumi approaches him and makes funny expressions, so the child laughs. So becomes surprised that she is gentle with them, and decides to perform an acting scene before the people who want to kill Mumi and Ikoma. So she tells Ikoma, I remember that you told my father don't point rifles toward the wrong target, and pulls out her sword and places it against Ikoma's heart, so he grabs the sword, and asks him, are the half-humans our enemies or our allies? So the people try stopping her because Ikoma might eat her, but continues and tells him the train leader died, so all responsibility for the passengers is on my shoulders, and asks him before them, why aren't you using your other hand and hitting me and biting me? So he tells her, I can't, I made a promise to myself. I will never run away again and I will never leave any soul become a victim to the Kaban. The Kaban are our enemies and I live for one goal only, exterminating all the Kabine. So pulls back her weapon and asks them, are you satisfied now? Who still believes that this man is our enemy? So they all leave. And when they enter inside, apologizes to Ikoma for what she did, and asks him, why did you grab the blade instead of grabbing my hand? So he tells her, I still cannot control my strength well. So I feared hurting you if I grabbed your hand. So becomes embarrassed and leaves, and suddenly Ikoma loses consciousness. And on the other side Mume is playing with the children and laughing with them. So she says, all this laughing made me hungry. So Kajika tells her, we have food, I will bring you some. So Mume tells her, no, I don't eat normal food. I want blood. So after they had trusted her, they become afraid of her again. And we return to who is taking care of Ikoma, so she concludes that this is because he lost us too much blood, so she goes to bandage him, and suddenly Ikoma wakes up and attacks her and behaves like the Kaban. And at the same time everyone becomes disturbed by Mumi and throws anything at her, so she stays away from them and warns Kajika about her, so she tells them nothing can be done, I am a half zombie. And suddenly Shino transforms into a zombie and everyone becomes terrified, so Mume removes the strap from her neck and quickly runs toward her and stabs 2 swords into her heart. So Kajika tells her she was carrying a child inside her, so Mume becomes sad. And she tells her the infection reached the child and it became too late to save him. And suddenly Mume senses the Kaban getting closer to them and the Watcher sees them. And at the same time Kurusu strikes Ikoma using the back of the rifle before he bites so he returns to his senses, and Kurusu cannot believe that he was doing that while not conscious, and before he fires at him Mume enters on them and tells them we must start the train immediately. And the people try entering the train quickly amid screaming and terror, and they are forced to move even though the repairs were not finished, and they imprison Mume and Ikoma, because they are afraid of them, and a rumor starts spreading that the half-humans are the reason the Kabane came to them, so because of that more negative ideas spread about them and nobody accepts their existence on Earth even after proved that they are good. And they gather around and ask her angrily, how are you planning to take responsibility for what happened because of your trust in the half-Kabane? So weakens and tells them, you are right, maybe I truly am not worthy of this responsibility, and hands them the main key of the train. So they order Yukina to change the train's direction toward the mountain route, so Ayam tells them it is more dangerous, so they reply to her this is the fastest road toward Kongokaku, and at the same time the people throw Takumi and Kajika and Sukari inside Mumei and Ikoma's room under the excuse that they are their allies, so Takumi gives Ikoma his weapon. And Mumei tells him we are both hungry and asks Kajika kindly to give her from her blood, but by her own choice not by force. And suddenly the people decide to separate their carriage from the train, but the Kaban descending upon them while they are disconnecting the carriage interrupts them. And afterward the Kaban enter the carriages because the door is open. But Mumi and Ikoma's door is closed, so they will not be able to reach them. And the terrifying thing is that the zombies that entered this carriage are from the Wazatori type. And it is a type that learns combat through experience, and it is the most terrifying type. So one of the passengers tries standing before the zombie with his sword, so it breaks his sword using its sword. So Mumei tries firing at the zombie from the door opening but it avoids the bullets, and the Kaban occupy the final two carriages. So they inform Ayam that the Kaban are inside the train and she decides to go fight them, and takes the bow and arrows with her, and takes everyone capable of fighting, and they try stopping the Kaban's advance so they do not reach the remaining carriages. So one of the Bushi tells Kurusu bring your sword. Watch how the half-humans fight. Close combat is the most suitable especially if you are skilled in using a sword, so Kurusu goes to bring the sword. And at the same time Ikoma opens an opening in the carriage ceiling and exits from it with Mumei so they can help them. So Sukari tells him I advise you not to go, because we will pass through many tunnels for a while. But Ikoma insists that he will go even though he at least needs to know when they will exit the tunnel. So through her strong observation Mumei saw a sign written with the name of the tunnel they are inside now. So Sukari tells them there will be a rest area after 3 tunnels from now so they wait. And when they pass 2 tunnels Mumei tells Ikoma I might reach my limit faster than you expected and then you will be alone, and despite that he does not fear and tells her I will continue with you or without you. And the opportunity comes and they move across the train roof and eliminate the Kaban they encounter on their path, so Mumei becomes exhausted and cannot continue, so Ikoma ties her to a pole so she can sleep. And he continues his path alone but suddenly drops onto his knee and finds that he also cannot continue because he is hungry, yet his determination and resolve to save them keeps moving him. And on the other side one of the Bushi gets bitten so he is forced to commit suicide, and when he explodes himself he creates a gap inside the train, and Kurusu arrives and using his sword manages to eliminate all the Kabane except the Wazatori, and it attacks Kurusu using 2 swords while Kurusu uses 1 sword, so they become shocked that there is a zombie mastering swordsmanship, so Kurusu clashes with it, and when he tries breaking its heart using the sword itself breaks, so the zombie stabs him so the Bushi protect him before the zombie bites him. So Ikoma appears and tells them whatever it takes. Anyone give me blood so I can eliminate this thing, and of course nobody will believe him or give him blood except Ayam, so she climbs onto the roof and cuts her hand, and tells him this is a contract between me and you protect us in exchange for my blood. So when the zombie sees the blood it tries climbing onto the roof, so Kurusu quickly stands up and stops it even though he is injured, and Ikoma drinks from Ayam's blood and jumps onto the zombie, and knocks it onto the ground, and explodes its heart using his weapon, so everyone cheers for him and celebrates that they exterminated the Kaban. And afterward Ayam decides that Mumi and Ikoma will stay with them inside the train, so the people tell her but they need blood, so she tells them I will give them my blood alone, so Kurusu refuses because she will not be able to feed them alone, so Kajika tells them she is not alone I will give them too, so Takumi becomes encouraged and tells them me too, so the others raise their hands and decide to donate, and from here Mumei and Ikoma will no longer be imprisoned inside a room. And on the next day the Bushi test the 2 rifles that Suzuki created like Ikoma's weapon, and Ikoma had created a sword coated with a metallic layer similar to the Kaban heart's membrane so that would make it more solid and able to break their hearts. And on the other side a fight happens between 2 men over food so Mumei becomes annoyed, and stands up and hits both of them and warns them not to do that again so they do not scare the children. So Ayam enters on them and thanks Mumei because she solved the problem, and they all tell her we feel reassured as long as Mumei is with us. And suddenly the train stops and that is because there is no response from the station they reached and nobody opened the bridge, even though they became very close to it, so the watcher looks through binoculars and finds burn marks in the city and tells them that there are still people alive, so Ayam sends a rescue squad there. So when they go there they discover that a piece of metal blocked the road, so they will not be able to continue through it. So someone suggests that they go around the city, but Ayam refuses because that would take 10 days and the food they have would not be enough for that entire period. And when the survivors reach the train they ask them did the Kabane occupy your station, so they tell them yes that was 3 days ago. Suddenly we found them descending from above the wall, and Mumei becomes surprised when she sees a certain person among the survivors named Inoku, and Inoku asks to enter the bathroom and while passing beside her he tells her I will wait for you outside. So when she exits she asks him what happened to you, so he places his hand on his amputated leg and tells her I am still able to help even if I am no longer in the front lines. 20 days ago the shogun leaders surrounded themselves with weapons, and that is not so they can kill the Kabane. Their goal is killing humans, and their suspicious actions must be known by the ruler. And I am in service at any time because he needs me. So she replies to him, I don't think that is enough for him to welcome you into his entourage. And she turns her back to him so she can leave, and suddenly he pulls out his sword, so she blocks the strike using the kunai. So he tells her, I didn't hear your answer. So she replies, you are no longer my brother's ear. Try doing that again and I will kill you. So he laughs and pulls out a pistol and places it against her back, and tells her, you became slow, Mumei. Don't waste your time with these people. You are the ruler's claws, and you only have value when you eliminate the Kabane, but if you hesitate for a moment he will abandon you. So she remembers when the ruler killed one of her comrades, and Inoki removes his sword and tells her, focus on your mission, Mumei. Consider this a gentle warning from an abandoned ear. And at the same time Ikoma is inside the meeting room and explains his plan to the Bushi and Iam so they can remove the tower that collapsed on the road, and the plan is that they go to the station crane and use it so they can lift the metal piece, and so they can reach the crane control room. They will avoid the direct path because of the Kabane. And suddenly Mumei tells them, I will help you but I will not fight with you. So they all become surprised and she tells them, why don't you want to go from the direct path? I will not fight beside cowards like you. So Ikoma replies, so we can avoid anyone dying we must follow a carefully studied plan. So she hits him and tells him, I will not bother myself and go around my goal, and leaves them and walks away. Yet despite that Iam agrees to the plan because there is no other solution besides it, and Mumei is angry because of Inoki's words and wants to prove to herself that she still has value. And when she enters one of the carriages and finds everyone upset and a child crying, she becomes surprised. So they tell her that his dog had a broken leg and now it died. So Mumei connects what happened to the dog with the words upsetting her. So she tells the child, but the dog is lucky, because it escaped from you before you threw it away. Surely it no longer had value after losing its leg. So they all become shocked by her words and get angry at her, so she runs away. And on the other side Ikoma goes to Takumi and Sukari asking them to come with him, so they can operate the crane. So Takumi becomes terrified and tells him, those risks are yours not mine. And Sukari asks him, are you sure the Bushi will help us? So he tells him yes, and Sukari agrees to help him. And afterward he goes to prepare his weapon and finds Mumei there, so he asks her, did something happen to you? And she tells him nothing happened, so he tells her, do whatever you want but do not dare attack the enemy nest, and leaves her and walks away. And afterward the squad moves under Kibito's leadership, and they manage to safely reach the crane operating room, and Takumi and Sukari operate it, and they continue their path toward the control room, so they can remove the metal. And suddenly Ikoma sees Mumei running toward the enemy nest even though he warned her, so he goes to stop her before she makes the Kabane attack them. But they become late and Mumei has already reached the enemy nest and enters inside and finds many Kabane, so she gives herself only 90 seconds to eliminate all of them, and throws suicide containers at them and explodes them using the pistols, and afterward attacks quickly and kills the Kabane one zombie after another until they are finished. And suddenly others appear and she notices that her hand got injured, so she becomes upset, because she doesn't know when that happened. Yet despite that she continues fighting. And when Ikoma and the others arrive they find that she eliminated all the Kabane, so Ikoma becomes surprised that she did all of that alone, so she tells them, you were late. If we had followed your plan you would still be on the long road trying to reach here. So Ikoma operates the crane so the plan can begin. One of the Bushi looks through the window and becomes surprised by the shadow moving, and the shock is that this shadow was originally a pile of Kabane and they started crawling upward and surrounding the building. So they blame Mumei because killing the Kabane that were in the place is what angered the Kabane below and provoked them. So Ikoma tries hurrying and operating the crane so he can complete the mission before the Kabane arrive. So Mumei tells him, don't worry, I will handle it. So he tells her angrily, shut up. And indeed they raise the metal piece and Mumei disappears. So Ikoma quickly goes to Sukari and Takumi so he can save them, and they return to the train once again, and Ikoma continues lifting the metal piece, and the train moves, so by the time it reaches the metal piece Ikoma would have removed it. And suddenly Ikoma sees Mumei through the window, while she is going to face all that amount of Kabane alone. And we find the zombie marks appearing on her face and she is extremely angry. And unfortunately Mumei finds before her a boxer zombie man, so he knocks the weapon from her hand, and grabs her by her leg and throws her from a great height, and jumps after her. So Ikoma goes to save her and leaves the crane, so Yukina becomes surprised and stops before crashing into the metal piece. And Ikoma descends and eliminates the boxer zombie, and suddenly the building gets destroyed and a gigantic monster emerges from it that form from the Kabane merging together. So Ikoma enters a cave with Mumei and it gets destroyed. So Mumei wakes up and finds herself beneath the cave ruins, and at the same time Yukina enters the rescue passage and they quickly close the door before the monster enters behind them. And he finds Ikoma and Mumei, so he tries helping her get out from beneath the rubble, and asks, why did we reach this situation? So Mumei tells him, you mean all this is because of me? So he tells her, yes. Because of you my plan was ruined, but I am stupid too. The moment I saw you falling I left the crane and came down, and surely they are angry at us now. So we cannot die here before fixing what we did. And on the other side the Bushi think about returning again and going around behind the mountain even if that takes longer time. So Ayam asks Yukina, can we do that? So she tells her unfortunately no. No matter how much we increase our speed while that monster is chasing us, we will never escape from it. So one of the Bushi tells them, but the black smoke gathering the cabane has scattered now, so I think we can pass through it. And also the crane reached halfway, so we might endure some damage in the train, but we will be able to pass. So Takumi asks them, are you planning to abandon Ikoma and Mume? So they tell him of course. Mume is the reason for everything happening. Besides Ikoma, who abandoned his mission without completing it. And at the same time Ikoma is still trying to move the rock on top of Mume, so she tells him leave me because anyway the strongest survives and the weak dies. So he asks her then when will the weak become strong? So she tells him enough, you are not forced to help me. Besides I do not want you especially to save me, and suddenly her heart starts glowing so Mume becomes terrified of transforming into a zombie. So Ikoma makes her drink blood and asks her when we become hungry do we transform into Kabane. So she replies to him I do not know, but all my comrades who were with me transformed into Kaban. And on the other side the train had already moved and they decided to take the risk of passing through the metal piece. And suddenly the Kaban appear again, so Ikoma pulls out his weapon and Mume tells him run away, you will not be able to fight all of them alone. So he replies to her. You are right, we are truly weak, but that does not mean we should not resist. And injures his hand so he can provoke the Kaban, and Mume cries and afterward loses consciousness. So she sees a nightmare about her childhood when the corpses occupied her station and she and her mother were bitten. So the Bushi did not believe that they still had not transformed into Kabane and killed her mother. And before they killed Mume a person appeared and saved her. And on the other side Ikoma fights the Kaban and tries using every method so he can resist them, so he explodes a pipe in the ceiling and it falls onto the Kaban, and explodes all the Kaban attacking him. And after a while Mume wakes up and finds Kibito before her, so she stands up shocked about Ikoma and searches for him, and the Bushi cannot believe that Ikoma is the one who killed all those Kaban, until she finds him lying on the ground but alive despite the dangerous wounds in his body. And they exit the cave and find the monster before them, so Mume tells them this is a united colony, and they quickly run toward the train, and strangely the monster goes toward the cave they were inside, so Mume tells them it is trying to absorb the Kaban inside, and afterward Ikoma goes to complete the mission and lifts the metal piece from the road, while the monster is busy gathering the Kaban. So Mume explains to them that the only way to defeat that monster is by striking its heart, and its heart here is one female zombie who gathered all this. But there are many Kaban around her, so it is difficult for them to strike her directly, and because of that they must strike her using the cannon, so the Kaban will separate and the heart zombie will appear, and then they can deliver the final blow. And she tells them I will deliver the final blow so I can repay them for saving her, and afterward she goes to the boy whose dog died along with his mother and apologizes to them for what she said. And afterward exits toward the train roof, and the monster chases them quickly, so they prepare the cannon and Mume tells Takumi fire at the final moment. And as the monster approaches Takumi becomes nervous and fires early so Kabane get thrown onto the train, so the Bushi fire at them using the new rifles, and Kurusu takes the sword that Ikoma created, so Ikoma tells him if you die do not blame the sword. And they both launch at the same time and eliminate the Kabane on the train roof. But the monster becomes extremely close to the train, so Ayam asks Yukina to increase the train's speed, and strangely the engine pressure does not increase, so Yukina tells Sukari that something is obstructing the transmission shaft. So Sukari goes to remove the zombie obstructing the speed increase, and the monster jumps onto the train and destroys the final carriage. So Takumi finally finds the opportunity to fire at its heart and indeed succeeds. So Mume jumps inside the monster and explodes the heart. And suddenly they reach a curve and the train speed is extremely high so it tilts, so Ayam asks everyone inside the train to stand on the opposite side, so they can create balance and the train does not leave the rails, and they truly succeed and manage to escape the predicament they were in. And on the next day Ikoma is training on using the sword so he performs one of Kurusu's moves, so Takumi provokes Kurusu and tells him your killer found a rival. So Kurusu gets angry and grabs a wooden sword and strikes Ikoma in the face, and tells him don't become arrogant because you learned one move. So Mume tells him that is a very childish behavior, and Takumi tells Ikoma learn this move too and strike him with it. And at the same time the Watcher sees a station so he calls all of them. And finally they find a station containing normal humans not Kabane, so they become very happy because they will rest and get food. And when they arrive Ayam tells the Bushi to take care of the train, while she goes to speak with the leader of this station. So Suzuki tells her that the data iron they used to create the jet rifles has run out, so she tells him to go buy it, so the others tell her we need spare parts for the train, and we need new clothes, so Kurusu tells them they can only stay in the city until tomorrow so they must buy those things quickly. So they discover that today the Star Festival will be held and that is a festival held on July 7th in Japan, so Mume does not know what this festival is, and Kajika tells her that it is a festival where they write their wishes on paper and hang them on trees, so Mume becomes excited and tells them I want to try it, so Ikoma tells her I don't think we have enough time for that, and we also do not have money. So Ayam tells them let us celebrate the festival normally and even gives them money from her own. And afterward they go to the city and Kajika tells Mume to come with her. So Mume tells her I do not know much about shopping. So Kajika tells her the merchants will not negotiate with a group of weak women like us, and you are our guard. But the complete opposite happens and Kajika deals with the sellers with complete professionalism and gets what she wants for a cheap price. And on the other side Ikoma buys the spare parts and iron for the weapons, so he notices that the seller has fireworks, which means he surely has gunpowder. So the seller asks him what do you want it for, and before Ikoma explains, one of the bushi from Shitori station enters on them, and gives his rifle to the seller, and speaks to him rudely and tells him fix this quickly for me. So the seller tells him I will finish with the customers here and then fix it for you. So he tells him you will prioritize a lowly steam mechanic like this over me, and strikes a nail box causing it to fall onto the ground, so Ikoma and the seller kneel to collect them. So the bushi tells him leave what you are doing and come fix my rifle. So Takumi tells the bushi get down and collect the nails yourself. Didn't your mother teach you to gather your toys into the box when you were little? So the bushi pulls out his sword and before he strikes Takumi, Ikoma grabs his hand and hits him and throws him outside, and returns to speaking with the seller about the jet rifle. And at the same time a child enters on Yukina and asks her are you from the Katetsujo train? My family was traveling on the Fusoji train, so Yukina becomes shocked because that is the train that entered on them while filled with kabane. So she avoids the boy and tells him sorry I do not know much about train names. So Sukari tells him the kabane occupied the Fusuji train and everyone on it transformed into kabane and we escaped from the place. So Yukina gets angry and tells him why would you tell him that? So he tells her that is less cruel than him waiting for his family forever and them never returning. If it were me I would wish someone told me. So the boy tells him you are a liar. My father promised me he would return, and cries so Sukari tells him I am sorry I did not mean to make you cry, but the real challenge begins when the tears dry. And at the same time Kibito and Kurusu are waiting for Ayam outside the station leader's room, and they notice that she became late so Kibito tells him we are probably not welcome, because food is expensive for everyone during the period we are in. So Kurusu tells him but he did not even give us a chance to negotiate. He is fighting the wrong people, so Kibito mocks him and tells him you are speaking like Ikoma, and Kurusu decides to enter and check on her, so he finds her eating so Kurusu becomes embarrassed and quickly leaves. And around sunset the station leader reaches the house and finds Ayam and Kurusu standing there, so Ayam introduces herself to him. So he tells her I am Minister Yamazaki and asks her what is this rifle you have? So she tells him this is a gift from us to Shitori Station, and Kurusu demonstrates its strength before them so Yamazaki becomes amazed that it pierced a large layer of steel, and they will be able to use it to pierce the kabane hearts. So Ayam promises him that she will give them the blueprint for creating the rifle in exchange for food and caring for the sick and injured and he agrees. And at the same time a person named Hiratsuka is sitting with one of the shoguns named Kujenta and Inoku is with them. So Hiratsuka asks the shogun why is there a hunter here? So he tells him he became one of us and he will go to Shitori Station soon, so Momoji gets angry and tells him no. Shitori Station has nothing to do with this conflict. So he tells him you are also involved in this after what happened 10 years ago. And on the other side Mume and Kajika meet Ikoma and show him the many things they bought, so Mume asks Kajika is this tree all we need for the festival? So she tells her yes and shows her how to write wishes and hang them. So Mume remembers her mother's appearance while doing the same thing Kajika is doing so she becomes shocked. And after they leave Ikoma notices that Mume disappeared and did not even take her food with her. So he goes searching for her and finds her sitting alone somewhere and upset, so he gives her her food and she tells him I celebrated this star festival before but I forgot. My mother while hanging the papers on the tree turned and told me Hazumi. Thankfully the sky is clear today so he becomes surprised who is Hazumi, so she tells him that is my real name before I met my brother, and asks him do you know how it is written, so he draws it for her on the ground and tells her I am sure your mother named you that because she wanted you to eat the amount of rice you wanted. So Mume laughs at him because he is speaking seriously, and afterward tells him but we were not able to produce rice for a very long time, and that is not what I eat now anyway. And afterward she stands and tells him it is good that we are talking together and joking like this. I expect that we will transform into kabane soon or maybe even today. Whenever I sleep I feel that if I wake up tomorrow I will not be conscious and maybe even my soul will disappear, and she jokes about the matter so she does not show the amount of her sadness. But Ikoma notices that and tells her stop it. I will return you into a human again, and you will stop fighting the kabane. And afterward you will eat rice like your mother wished. So Mume becomes surprised and tells him, but you do not even know how to return us into humans in the first place. And also there are no more rice fields because of the kabine. So he tells her and I am certain that I will do that, and I already made my decision. So Mume smiles and he sees in her the same smile as his sister who died because of the kabane. and at night they begin the festival and Ikoma stands and tells them my wish is exterminating the Kaban and restoring all the fields. So Sukari tells him you are asking for too much, so Ikoma replies to him, that means you are simply satisfied with life, but I reject that, merely remaining alive is not a sufficient wish for me. So Iam becomes excited and tells them my wish too is reclaiming Aragan Station. So everyone becomes excited and starts writing their true wishes, and afterward the fireworks begin and Mume becomes amazed by their appearance in the sky. And on the next day Ikoma wakes up and hears Mume talking while sleeping, and saying don't worry brother they are all kind. So he says to himself this person you call my brother, is the one who made you abandon your name, and he is the one who taught you that the weak should not try and their ending is death. And suddenly they hear cheering sounds outside the train, so they all go out to see what is happening. So they find the people cheering for the hunters' train, that just arrived at the station. And the hunters are an independent force created to exterminate the Kaban, and they have a huge chain of victories against the Kaban, and they clear many lands from the Kaban and return them to the people. And their leader's name is Biba and he is the shogun's son. And suddenly they find Mume going to greet him and calling him brother, and Biba asks her are you alone where is Shiman? So she tells him that the Kaban attacked Aragan Station, and he died honorably. So he tells her I am happy that you are okay, and Mume becomes excited to tell him what she went through during the whole journey, while Ikoma feels uneasy and wants to investigate the matter of Biba, so he can make sure whether he is a hero or not. And afterward Mume tells Biba there is a half-zombie besides me on the Kotetsujo train, and he said he performed surgery on himself all alone, so he becomes amazed by her words and they reach Iam who welcomes Biba and introduces herself to him. So he asks her are you the leader now? So she tells him no the leader is my uncle and his name is Makino Dagen, and tells him we all owe Mume, but we never expected that she was your sister, so he replies while standing she is not my sister. And afterward Ikoma enters on them so Mume introduces them to each other, and before Biba speaks Ikoma interrupts him and tells him I know you. You are the one who taught Mume that the weak should not try and their ending is death right? So Mume yells at Ikoma, because of the way he is speaking, so Biba tells her go now to the Kaban morgue, so they can examine your body, so Mume listens to his words and leaves. And then he tells Ikoma this place is very noisy come let us talk inside, and when they enter Iam tells Biba it is an honor for us that the shogun's son himself is guiding us, so he tells her I already renounced him and I am no longer his son. And when they enter inside they find a problem in the train because of the huge pressure on it, and the continuous fighting, so Biba tells the mechanic that he will repair it himself. So the mechanic tells him a man in your position should not deal with something filthy like this, but Biba insists, and asks Harani his assistant to guide Iam and the others, so Ikoma takes advantage of the opportunity and tells him I will help you. So Biba tells Ikoma I will answer your question. The strong survive and the weak die. The world moves by that principle. So Ikoma replies but I disagree with you that the weak have no right to live. So he tells him I understand how you feel but I never intended to abandon anyone. On the contrary I intended to save them. And Mume saved herself by choosing to fight. What we need is not a tool for escape or hiding. We need the ability to face the Kaban without fear. So Ikoma becomes surprised because those are the same words he says. And suddenly they hear an alarm sound, and that is because the Kaban are approaching the walls of Shitori Station. And the reason for that is Kagenta. So Haratsuka tells him you call luring the Kaban, and putting our people in danger a plan. So he replies do not worry the hunters will deal with the Kaban, and I have no doubt that the liberator himself will join the list. So Ikoma goes to get his weapon, and Biba goes out asking his squad how many are there, so she tells him 7 hordes and there is no danger of forming a colony. It will take 15 minutes at most, so he orders them to spread using light weapons and delay them, and he will eliminate them. So the hunters' train exits and they fire cannons at the Kaban, and afterward the entire squad exits using motorcycles and fires bullets at the Kaban, and everyone becomes amazed by their strength and courage that made them approach the Kaban like that. And Ikoma descends into the battlefield too with his weapon and kills the Kaban. And at the same time one of the hunter's soldiers gets bitten, and as usual commits suicide honorably so the others can live, and suddenly 3 Kaban merged together appear so Mumi runs toward them and tells Biba I will handle this. So Biba asks Horobi to help her, so it becomes clear that Horobi is also a half-zombie and activates her power and attacks with Mume, so together they manage to dodge the Kaban, and eliminate the first zombie from the 3 and afterward Horobi lifts Mume and she fires at the second zombie, and Horobi finishes the final zombie using her sword. And on the other side Inoku goes to attack Biba, so we discover that the plan from the beginning was targeting Biba, and all this was camouflage so Kagenta could eliminate him. So Inoku tells Biba you do not know how many people want to kill you and I am here because they sent me, and I can tell you their location if you want. All you must do is ask me that. I am waiting for your order, so Biba looks at him with contempt and tells him I do not need you. So Inoku becomes angry and attacks him, so Biba avoids the strike and returns it with a strike that knocks him onto the ground, and places his sword before his face and tells him you lied to me. You decided from the beginning to betray me, so Inoki asks for help and nobody saves him, and Biba kills him so Ikoma sees him and asks him why did you kill him? He was asking for help, so Biba asks him is that man your relative or your long-lost brother? Why are you emotional over someone you do not know? So Ikoma replies angrily because he was asking for help, so Takumi silences Ikoma and tells him Biba was the one in danger, and apologizes to Biba for Ikoma's behavior. And on the next day Hiratsuka scolds Kogenta for what he did and tells him assassinating Biba is not that simple, and suddenly the hunters storm the place and kill everyone present except Hiratsuka and take him with them. And at the same time Ayam is apologizing to Biba for Ikoma's behavior and his sympathy towards someone he does not know, so Biba forgives him normally and tells her the situation became dangerous, so allow us to escort you to Kongokaku. And around sunset the Kotetsujo train moves and all the people feel reassured because Biba himself is protecting them, and at the same time Ayam is inside the control room with the Bushi and asks them was this the right decision, so Kibito tells her this will reduce for us the dangers of facing the Kabine. And on the other side Ikoma is with Takumi and tells him that he is upset with Biba and uncomfortable with him, because he taught Mume that the weak die. And also Mume had said that no zombie ever bit her before, so that means she was forced into becoming a half zombie. And we return to the past on the day the Bushi killed Mume's mother, and before they killed her too Biba appeared and saved her, and made her kill the man who killed her mother, and told her if your mother was not weak she would not have died. You must live alone and not depend on anyone, and you no longer need a name for people to call you by, so from now on let people call you Mume. And Mume means nameless. And afterward he took her to their laboratory and performed an experiment on her, transforming her into a half-zombie. So Biba asked her, are you afraid? So she replied to him, no. This way we became closer to returning you to your homeland, brother. So he told her, you are very strong, Mume. Now I can ask you for one more request. So he asked her to bring him the Kotetsujo train key. So Mume told him in surprise, but that key is with Ayam. So he told her, and is this Ayam stronger than you? So she told him no, and he left her and walked away. And in the present Biba is inside a room in the Kotetsujo train containing a huge beating blue heart and many kaban, and he tied up Hiratsuka and another person. So Hiratsuka asks him, what is this place and what are you planning to do with us? So he replies, you did not forget what you did, of course. And because of that you tried to kill me, and asks him who betrayed us on the battlefield 10 years ago, and left us to die at the hands of the Kabane, and tells him you were the ones responsible for the supplies at that time, so surely you know who did it. So the other person replies angrily, do not dare touch Hiratsuka. So Biba kills him, so Hiratsuka becomes terrified and tells him he was your father. And at the same time Mume and Ikoma feel that there are kaban on the train, and Mumi enters Ayama's room and tells her I want the train's main key, so Yukina is passing outside and hears what is happening, so she stops to eavesdrop. So Ayam asks her, and what do you want from the key? And Mume replies with a question, will you give it to me or not? So Ayam asks her, are you the one who wants to use it, or did someone ask you to bring it? So Mumi replies angrily, give it to me and enough questions. You cannot fight me, and because of that please give it to me. And suddenly Yukina enters and gives her the key and tells her it was with me, because I was using it for some repairs in the train, and asks Ayam, you do not mind, right? So Ayam tells her no, so Mume thanks them and takes it and leaves. So Ayam asks her, what did you give her? So Yukina tells her the boiler room key, and Takumi enters on them while terrified and tells Ayam, come with me quickly. And at the same time Biba tells Mume they deceived you. This is the boiler room key. So Mume cannot believe that they tricked her, and one of the hunters enters on them and informs Biba that Ikoma is at the cargo carriage. So Biba tells Mume if he forcefully enters this carriage and discovers what is inside we will be forced to kill him. So Mume goes out to Ikoma and asks him, why are you here? So he tells her, you must come with me. I want to ask you about something. And she goes with him, so he tells her Biba is hiding a horde of kabane with him. So she tells him, surely you also heard the sound coming from the Kabane clinic, and explains to him that they must know more about their enemy. So he asks her, did they use those techniques to transform you into a half-zombie? So she tells him yes. I asked my brother to transform me into a half-zombie. So Ikoma asks her angrily, and why did you do that? So she tells him, because he told me not to be weak like my mother and so I can become strong. That was the only way for a child like me to become strong. So he tells her that is a person using his power to kill people. And those are the actions of a cowardly person afraid of death, nothing more. So she hits him and tells him a person's attempt to protect himself is not a cowardly action, and if everyone became strong there would be no need for sadness. That is what my brother said, and I do not expect liars like you to understand, and leaves him and enters the cargo carriage again. So Ikoma tells Ayam and Takumi Biba is not a hero, because he was smiling at that moment while killing Hiratsuka. And when they reach Iwado Station, which is before Kongokaku Station, the samurai refuse to let them pass through them, and the order came from Kongokaku himself because he refuses the hunters passing through. And that is because of his fear of Biba, so Ayam decides that they will separate from them. And afterward Ikoma gathers with Sukari and Ayam and Kurusu, and explains the situation to them, and tells them that the train contained more than 100 zombies, so they become happy that they separated from them. And Ayam tells Ikoma, I also do not agree with Mume staying with them, so Ikoma promises her that he will bring her back. And on the other side Mume asks Biba, if this plan succeeds everyone will become happy, right? So he tells her yes, but for that to happen we need your help. And one of the hunters enters on them and tells Biba the station leader agreed to meet you. But he said that you cannot come unless you are accompanied by a woman and a child. So Biba tells him just as I expected and orders Mume to prepare. And when she leaves, Harani asks Biba, you lied to her, right? So he replies to her, either way that will not change what she is supposed to do. So she replies to him, and what I am supposed to do too. You decided to use me because Mume left, right? Will I die today? And at the same time I am is with the leader Maeda and thanking him, because he prepared the road for them toward Kongokaku. So he tells her it is natural for the shogun to help the people, and apologizes to her for the condition that only a woman or child is allowed to meet him, and tells them if I had not done that they would not have agreed for me to meet Biba here. So, I am becomes surprised that he will meet Biba. So he tells her Biba said that he wants to discuss a matter related to supplies. So one of Maeda's guards named Itagaki replies to them saying that Maeda knows nothing about the conflict between Baba and the shogun. So Maeda tells him surely Biba forgot that conflict. If he had not forgotten, he would not have spent the past 10 years fighting the Kabane for the sake of the shogun. And at the same time Biba with Horani pretending that she is the woman and Mume pretending that she is the child are on their way toward Maeda. And many guards are around them, so Horani says to herself, is he naive enough to think that those few guards can stop us? And Takumi sees Mume from far away while she is riding the horse and going with Biba, so he enters to tell Ikoma quickly. And when Biba arrives, Itagaki points his weapon at him, so Maeda tells him stop what you are doing. Biba came here only to talk, so he tells him and he can still talk while the weapon is above his head. So Biba sits normally and speaks, and suddenly Mume tells them I want to go to the bathroom, so Biba asks someone to take her. And at the same time Ikoma and Takumi are on their way toward Maeda's room, but strangely they see Mume running, and on the other side the hunter's train prepares to move. And Mume storms the station control room and opens the bridge for the hunters. So Ikoma enters on her and asks her, what are you doing? So she tells him, I am allowing the hunter's train to pass because it is unfair that after all this fighting against the Kabane they are not allowed to enter. And suddenly the hunters release the Kabane. So Mume becomes shocked and Ikoma tries to raise the bridge again, but one of the hunters cuts the rope that raises it, and the Kabane attack the guards. And at the same time the alarm bell rings, so Itagaki becomes shocked and lowers his weapon. And suddenly Biba stands up and kills him, and Horobi kills the second guard, and Biba grabs the leader Maeda. So Ayam grabs one of the spears and tells him stop. So Horobi throws a scalpel at her and Yukina saves her and gets injured instead of her. So Maeda tells Biba, you betrayed me. So Biba replies to him, your master was the one who betrayed me first. And on the other side Mume stands there unable to comprehend what she did. And Takumi tells Ikoma, forget about her now, we must return to the others. So they return and close the door on the normal people and stand fighting with the Bushi so the Kabane do not hurt any of them. And Ikoma asks Kibito, did Ayam return yet or not? So he tells him not yet, and if we all go to the train we will not be able to do anything without the key. So Kurusu tells them I will go to her. And Mume runs among the people who died and blames herself for what she did, and finds a mother and her daughter about to get bitten, so she saves them. But after it became too late and the little girl got bitten. So the mother kills her daughter and commits suicide with her. And at the same time Biba takes Im with him under weapon threat. So Kurusu sees her while on the road entering the hunter's train. And on the other side the soldiers of Awado Station ask themselves, did their leader abandon them? And they see the hunter's bridge moving. So they all run toward it so they can escape from the Kabane, and the hunters shoot all of them. And at the same time inside the cargo carriage, Biba places a strange blue substance into a pistol and asks Horobi, are you afraid? So she tells him, I am afraid because of your fear for me. So he asks her in surprise, am I afraid? So she tells him, you are always afraid. So he injects her with the blue substance. And she exits, gathering the Kabane around her, and transforms into a gigantic colony, and goes to destroy the station walls. And Mumi reaches Biba and he tells her well done. So she asks him, wasn't the goal from opening the bridge only allowing the hunter's train to pass? So he tells her, look for yourself. This is the world of justice and equality they speak about. And suddenly the virus inside Horobi's body evolves further. So the leader of the research laboratory, whose name is Su, becomes angry because that happened early. So one of the scientists with him says we must give Horobi the white blood. So he tells him it is useless. It is impossible for her to return to normal after reaching this stage. And Kurusu enters on them with the rifle so he can take Ayam from them, and quickly eliminates their guards. And Su pulls out his weapon and accidentally shoots one of his soldiers. So Ayam strikes the scientist carrying the white blood and threatens Su that she will throw it away. So he points his weapon toward her and tells her, you do not realize how important it is. So Kurusu takes advantage of the opportunity and attacks him, and falls with him from a great height. And at the same time we find that Horobi transformed into an evolved zombie and sharp blades are in her hands, and she starts attacking the hunters one after another. So they fire bullets at her, and she becomes angry and fires a beam at them that explodes them. So she reaches Biba and suddenly stops in her place without moving, and smiles at him while he is nervous because he was about to die. So he places his sword into her heart. And Mume stands there shocked, unable to understand anything, and the hunters surround Ikoma and everyone with him, and tell Ikoma, do not resist. We are very interested in your blood, but if you resist we will kill you normally. And Biba stands giving a speech to the survivors of what happened. So he tells them this is the world freed from its cage. Abandon the stations and join the fight. Here neither the weak nor the strong alone will survive. And based on those words we are going to eliminate the greatest source of fear for humanity. the Shogun fortress Kongokaku so we can liberate it, and they kill one of the children who got bitten before his mother. So Mumei asks them what are you doing, and they surround her too with weapons, so she understands that everything he told her was a lie. And afterward they move toward Kongokaku while imprisoning Ikoma. And they become surprised that Sukari joined the enemy and call him a traitor. So he tells them excuse me I am joining the side with greater influence and power, and gives Yukina blood for Ikoma so he does not transform into a zombie. So she takes it from him while disgusted and everyone treats him badly. And they also exploit the hostages and draw blood from them into containers. So one of the people tells them please not my wife, you can take from me an amount enough for 2 people. So one of the hunters named Warabi stands and tells him no this is not a good deal. So the man tells him then make it enough for 3 people or 4 if you want. So Warabi grabs his weapon and cuts off his hand, and orders them to take his blood. So another hunter named Uryu tells him I became tired of your oppression toward the weak. And Takumi screams at them telling them how can you do this? So Warabi tells him if you are his ally I will make you give me an amount enough for 30 people. So Takumi goes to Ikoma inside the cage and asks him until when. I can no longer wait, so he tells him tomorrow night. We will do it when they come to take the blood. And at the same time Ayami is with Biba in his room and he tells her give me your answer. This will be possible if your uncle agrees to become the leader, so she tells him so you can open Kongokaku fortress and meet your father. If you will guarantee the lives of my friends then I have no other choice except helping you. And asks him what are you planning to do when you meet your father? So he tells her 10 years ago, and so we could exterminate the Kabane the shogun sent 400,000 soldiers to Kyushu, so she tells him I know. And you were 12 years old at that time, and were the supreme commander. So he continues and when we reached Kyushu we were in a good position, and things were in our favor, and we built many bases there and managed to control the Kabane. But suddenly all the supplies stopped and we became isolated among the Kabane and the entire army died. And my father was the reason for that. And I must punish him with my own hands, so I am become shocked by his words. And at the same time Takumi and the others gather around Ikoma so he can tell them the plan. So he tells them we must seize the train engine room. If we control it then even Baiba will not be able to do anything, and he will agree to free IM and Mumei. So Takumi tells him but the engine room is at the front of the train, how will we reach it? So he tells them there is one person carrying the keys. And most likely he is responsible for delivering the blood to the Kaban imprisoned in the front carriage. And he comes only once every night and the keys are with him, so we must steal them from him. So Kibito tells them there is no other solution except trying. So Ikoma tells them Baba is planning to destroy Kongokaku and we will reach there tomorrow. So Kibito tells him I am worried about IM. If something happens to her I will not be able to face Kurusu when he returns, and they move so they can gather anything they can use as a weapon. So Takumi tells Ikoma do you think Mumei will return? So he tells him it does not matter. Whether she wants to or not I will bring her back. So he tells him honestly she resembles your sister Hatsumi. So Ikoma laughs and tells him impossible they are only the same height. And the whole matter is that I feel there is someone asking me to save her, so Takumi tells him that is surely yourself. And at the same time Mumei enters the clinic and tells them you are the ones who transformed Horobi into a colony, right? So all of them pretend that they know nothing, and Mumei sees the man who did not want his wife's blood taken, so she becomes surprised and goes to Biba and asks him why are you taking blood from the people of Kotetsujo? So he asks her what do you think the Kaban are? They appeared suddenly and changed the world. So she tells him the Kaban are our enemies and it is our duty to eliminate them. So he replies to her but because of them we discovered who the true enemy we must eliminate is. So she tells him I thought you were going to Kongokaku so you could see your father. I no longer understand what you are planning. So Biba turns and brings his hand closer to her and she becomes afraid. So he tells her you became afraid of me Mumi. And Sahari enters on them and gives him a paper and tells him you must inspect this when you are free. So Biba takes it from him and tells Mumei I noticed that you are very interested in the people of Kotetsujo. So I will send instructions preventing their harm. So Mumei becomes happy and leaves. So the assistant asks him Mumei needs some repairs, right? So he tells him yes. And the stage of executing the plan begins. So Takumi gives Ikoma a metal piece so he can free himself and the doctors and guards enter so they can take those who will donate blood. So Ikoma tells the scientist carrying the keys if you are this eager to take blood then why do you not take from your own blood instead? So all the guards point at Ikoma. And the others take advantage of the opportunity and open the steam pipes and attack the guards. And Ikoma attacks the one carrying the keys and takes them from him, and Takumi attacks Sukari so Ikoma stops him and explains to them that he was the one who asked him to become a spy and send him the message inside the bamboo tubes containing Ikoma's food. And suddenly Warabi takes a person hostage, and afterward attacks Ikoma and tells him I left you alive only cause they said the existence of a male half-zombie is rare, so Ikoma tells him Kurusu and Mumi are much faster than you, and manages to defeat him so Warabi pulls out his pistol, and before he fires at Ikoma, Takumi strikes him on the head with a pipe, and looks at Ikoma and finds him laughing so he asks him do you think my saving you is funny? So he replies yes, and afterward they move from one carriage to another, and at the same time the news reaches Baiba so he asks Mumi to eliminate them. But she refuses so he tells her if you do not teach them I will order them to stop treating you, and the curse will not stop until it burns your entire body. Yet despite that Mumi still refuses, so the scientists attack her and she sees with one of them the serum that transforms into a colony so she escapes, then Sahari comes from behind her and knocks her unconscious. And on the other side Ikoma and Takumi reach the engine room, but the door does not open. And it turns out all this was a trap and Biba enters on them, and tells him I expected that this was the most suitable time for rebellion so I changed the door key and fires bullets at Ikoma, so Takumi saves him and receives them in his place, so Ikoma screams and cries, so Biba asks him what are you feeling after losing your dearest friend, so Ikoma stands up in complete despair and grabs his weapon so Sahari strikes him, and he crashes into a switch that opens the sides of the carriage they are in, and Biba tells them to bring Mumei and orders her to kill Ikoma, and it is clear that she is not conscious, and suddenly she stabs a knife into his stomach and Ikoma falls from the train. And on the next day the others see Takumi as a zombie so Kajika cries for him painfully, so one of the guards tells them stay away from him, so Kajika says do not touch him, so Sahari tells her be obedient or I will make you become like him, so she tells him do it so your hands become stained with blood, and the others stand before them so Uryu tells Sahari leave them alone so they carry Takumi and take him away, and at the same time Ikoma is on the riverbank and still alive and Biba is with Mumei inside the cargo carriage, and tells her my father was cowardly because of the secret conflicts surrounding the throne. And because of that one night he stabbed me in the back with a knife. But he did not kill me, and his excuse was fear, and afterward he became more and more afraid of me, so he pushed me away from him. I will never forgive him and you said you would help me, and this kindness is your weak point. And he places the colony serum and injects her with it, and on the other side the shogun his father makes an announcement to all the people about the destruction of Owado Gate, which was a main defensive line for the capital, and that the reason for all this is the hunter's leader Amatori Biba, and tells them but there is no need for fear because the shogun is an impregnable fortress. So one of the scientists following the shogun asks him, then what about the matter of the black smoke, should we keep it secret, and tells him I think we should inform everyone about it. So the shogun asks him you are the only one who knows about this matter until now, right? So he tells him yes, and quickly the shogun kills him, and tells the members of the Supreme Council that excessive revealing of information will do nothing except increase fear. And at the same time Ikoma wakes up and blames himself for Takumi's death, and thinks about Mumei who did that to him, and did not need him, and also forgot his promise to her that he would return her into a human again. And suddenly he sees zombies walking so he hides because he still cannot fight. And on the other side a person informs the shogun that the Kotetsujo train is about to arrive, so the shogun's guard asks him are you sure it is not the hunter's Kokuja train? So he replies yes, and they said they captured the one who destroyed Iwado station. So they open the bridge for the train and Im exits to them and introduces herself, and tells them I came to hand Biba over to you. So Biba whispers to her remember that there are hostages important to you in my hospitality. So she tells him I promised you that I would commit to your plan, and in the same station Im meets her uncle Makino Dagen and he asks her about her father, so she tells him the Kaban killed him. And the shogun's guard enters on them and asks Im, are you the one who captured Biba? So she replies thanks to the efforts of everyone on the Kotetsujo train we managed to capture him, and tells him we lost our city and all of us are exhausted from the journey so allow us to enter Kongokaku. So he replies to her in Kongokaku we examine everyone so we can make sure there are no bite marks, and this will take 3 days. But you two will meet the shogun. And at the same time Kurusu suddenly enters on Ikoma, and asks him about Im and the others, so Ikoma tells him Biba imprisoned them and Takumi died and Mumei became our enemy. So Kurusu becomes angry and tells him you escaped alone you traitor, so Ikoma tells him I could not do anything. And suddenly Su enters while tied with a rope, and examines Ikoma and finds a stab near his heart so he concludes that Mumei did this. And Kurusu tells Ikoma get up so we can go after the Kotetsujo train, so Ikoma replies in despair there is no use from me. It is better for me to die, so Kurusu becomes angry and leaves him and walks away, and Ikoma continues crying. And at the same time Biba reaches the shogun while tied and on his knees, so the shogun tells him stop acting I know you are planning something, and orders the guards to bring the knife that is inside his bag. So Biba tells him that is the only thing you ever gave me as a gift so I thought I would return it to you before I die. And if you pity me then my only request is that you kill me with your own hands. So the shogun approaches him and before he opens the weapon he notices something strange and sees a blood drop coming out from his hand. So Biba tells him before I die I want to ask you a question. In your opinion why did I remain alive during all this time of fighting the Kabane? And tells him the greatest danger of the Kabane is their ability to hide among humans. Even at this moment their numbers are increasing greatly. And I can distinguish them and because of that I am still alive until now. So the guard asks him you mean the bite marks? That is why we examine everyone who enters here. So Biba replies to him you will not be able to find the Kaban through your examinations. And the proof of that is their presence here among you right now. Look carefully. If you find them kill them before they kill you. And suddenly the color of the shogun's hand changes and that is because of the knife he held. So the guards point their weapons at him and fire bullets at him. So Biba tells them that is not enough to kill him. So they continue firing bullets fearfully but he does not die. So Biba pulls out his sword and tells him the same excuse his father told him on the day he tried to kill him. I did not do this, it was fear, and breaks his heart using the sword, and grabs the station microphone and tells them not only that the shogun himself was a zombie. There is no doubt that the others entered here too, so the people begin revolting against the guards and take weapons from them, and whenever someone transforms into a zombie they fire bullets at him. So Makino takes IM away from the place and huge chaos happens in the entire city, and at the same time the news reaches Sukari and the others, so they worry about IM. And suddenly Yuryu kills the guards inside the examination room and opens the bridge and lets the hunter's train enter, and they open the doors and throw the kabane into the city. And on the other side the shogun's guard tells Baiba this was your plan from the beginning, and you were the one who transformed the shogun into a zombie. So he replies to him, I will reward you for discovering the truth, and kills him. And Baiba sits on the throne and remembers his memories with his father. And at the same time Su rushes Kurusu so he can repair the motorcycle they found, and tells him if we do not go to Kongokaku quickly we will not make it in time to see Mumei transforming into a colony. So Kurusu looks at Ikama and finds him sitting in the same position. So Su tells him forget him, his spirit is dead and he truly became similar to a zombie. So Kurusu strikes him and tells him I am the one who decides. And he goes to Ikoma and tells him before I leave I want to ask you why are you alive, and tells him Mumei's stab to you passed beside your heart, and if the blade had deviated slightly, you would have been dead. And that would have happened if she intended to kill you. So Ikoma realizes that she saved him, and Kurusu informs him that she will transform into a colony. So Ikoma's determination renews and tells him wait, explain to me what you just said in detail. And at the same time Yumi is walking and her heart glows blue. And she thinks about how she failed to save anyone and thinks about Ikoma and apologizes to him, and afterward the Kaban gather around her and she transforms into a colony. And on the other side Su explains to Ikoma that if a half-zombie becomes the heart of the colony she loses her soul and her life. So Ikoma asks him angrily is there no way to save her? So he tells him you must inject the white blood into her heart, and it will melt the iron membrane of the Kaban hearts. So Ikoma prepares himself and ties his jet weapon onto his arm, and exits telling Su give me the serum. So Su extends his hand toward the white one, so Ikoma tells him not that one. So Su becomes surprised and tells him I told you that the blue serum accelerates the transformation, and stimulates the virus and increases its spread like what happened with Horobi. But because you are male you will not transform into a colony. Your life force will burn and you will become a zombie. So Ikoma tells him I need that power. So Su smiles maliciously and tells him your glow will only last for a moment. So he tells him it does not matter, I will kill Baiba and save Mumei. So Ikoma injects himself with the blue serum and Su tells him remove the collar that suppresses your power, otherwise you will not obtain the true power you want. So Ikoma removes the collar and his eyes become colored blue. And at the same time the chaos increases in the city and Mumei destroys everything around her, and Ikoma and Kurusu reach the station, and the moment the Kabane see Ikoma they attack him. So he uses his weapon and eliminates them while behind him Kurusu protects him, and they fight together in harmony. And when they finish the Kaban inside the station the effect of the blue poison begins on Ikoma and he feels his vision weakening. So Kurusu asks him what are you, so he replies to him I am a half-zombie. So Kurusu tells him if you stop responding and transform into a zombie I will kill you myself. And they continue their way inside the city, and Ikoma remembers Su's words when he told him if you inject her with the white blood she will return human, but there is only one dose, either you save her or save yourself. And in every case you must hurry so your soul does not get swallowed. And at the same time the people of Kongokaku imprison the people of Kotetsujo, and think that they are the ones who brought the virus with them. So Ayam enters on them and tells them these are not Kaban, and of course they do not believe her and tell her preserving order is your responsibility. So she tells them no order was created to protect people, and we must not point our rifles in the wrong direction. We must eliminate the doubt inside our hearts and souls. So they calm down and listen to her words. And at the same time Yumei sees inside her mind a huge number of Kaban chasing her and red butterflies around her. And those butterflies are the souls of the people who died and became Kaban and are tied to her now. And they tell her why are you alive? You killed many people. So Mumei becomes terrified and tries to push them away from her, and that reflects in reality through her strikes and destruction of the city. So Sahari informs Biba that Mumei will reach the fortress he is inside after 30 minutes. So he tells her alright I will meet you so we can escape from here. And suddenly Sahari sees Ikama and tells Biba, so he becomes shocked too, and the guards fire at him so he eliminates them with complete rage. So Sahari makes the guards aim at him from above the buildings, and Kurusu surprises them with his quick entrance and eliminates them and protects Ikoma's back. So Sahari goes to bring a train and heads with it toward Ikoma so he can run him over, and the guards hold Ikoma so they can pin him onto the rails. So Ikoma pushes them away from him, but the train already reached him, and suddenly he extends his hand and the train crashes into it and flies off the rails. So Ikoma concludes that this is the power of the blue serum, but it affects him strongly and his vision weakens more. So Kurusu asks him what are you? So he tells him I am fine, still a half-zombie, and they find Sahari still alive and angry because they came to ruin Baiba's plan. So he attacks Ikoma and Ikoma grabs his hand and sends the weapon flying away, and explodes his heart with the rifle because he killed many people. and at the same time Baiba is thinking about Ikoma, who after all these injuries is still alive, and a scientist carrying the white blood enters on him, and tells him the Kabane are spreading everywhere, so keep this with you as backup, and Uryu asks him, do you want me to kill him this time? So Baiba tells him, no, you go protect our followers, and if something happens save them and save yourself. So he asks him what will you do, and he tells him there is someone coming to me that I must deal with, and removes the band around his neck, so we discover that he is a half zombie. And on the other side an explosion separates Ikoma and Kurusu on the bridge. So Kurusu tells him, you go, I will deal with the Kabane. So Ikoma runs toward Mume, who drowned in darkness and negative energy. And suddenly she feels Ikoma's energy and it forms before her in the shape of a blue butterfly. So the negative energy controlling the monster weakens and it falls onto its knees. And before he reaches Mume, Biba appears and stands before him, and Ikoma's vision weakens more and more. Yet despite that he begins attacking Baiba and a fast clash happens between them. And Biba asks him, did you inject yourself with the blue blood? What is your goal from reaching this point? So he tells him, I promised Mume that he would return her human. So Biba sends him flying away and places his sword into his heart, yet Ikoma remains standing and breaks the sword with his body. So Biba breaks his arm and the power of the blue blood activates and sends him flying. And Ikoma stands and approaches him with the intention to kill, and suddenly Ikoma freezes in place because he lost his ability to hear and see. So Baiba takes advantage of the opportunity and slowly approaches him, so that appears to Mume in the form of the red butterflies gathering around Ikoma's blue butterfly. So Ikoma's necklace that she took from Takumi's hand when he died falls from her hand, and the moment it falls into the water, Ikoma regains his senses again, and quickly turns and places his weapon into Biba's heart and explodes it, and quickly goes to Mume and injects her with the white blood, so the colony collapses. And Mume wakes up and finds Ikoma unconscious, and Baiba approaches him and fires bullets at him and tells him, what are you doing? Get up, Ikoma, I can still fight. And before he stabs Ikoma in the heart, Mume places a blade into Biba's heart and tells him, we will live even if we are weak, and we will create rice fields through our cooperation and seek a better future. So he tells her, I understand, Mume. So she tells him, you are wrong, my name is Hazumi. And at the same time Iam gathers the survivors and takes them onto the Kotetsujo train and holds a meeting so they can determine the route they can pass through. So Uryu enters on them and tells them, I can tell you the road you can escape from, but we will ride with you. So the people become angry and the mother of the child he killed slaps him. So Iam calms them and tells them we will cooperate with them. They are suffering too. And if we do not do that, they will use force to compel us. So Uryu thanks her and tells her, as an expression of gratitude, I will tell you that the lost half-zombie and your obedient dog are here in Kongokaku. And on the other side, Kurusu reaches Mume and Ikoma and finds Ikoma unconscious and Mume returned to normal and holding his hand trying to wake him up. And suddenly they hear Kajika's voice in the city microphone telling them, meet us at Route 13 and board the Kotetsujo train. So Kurusu carries Ikoma and Iam starts the train and they move. So Mume attacks the Kabane so she can clear the road and goes to open Route 13 and they meet. So she throws Ikoma toward them and jumps onto the train. So Kajika hugs her and tells her welcome back. And Kurusu jumps and Iam catches him and tells him welcome back. Yukina increases the speed and the railway they are traveling on gets destroyed, and afterward Mume tries to wake Ikoma and shakes him strongly and tells them he will be fine. He promised me he would return me human and he still did not fulfill his promise. So Ikoma wakes up and tells her stop shaking me. So all of them become happy that he is still alive and suddenly his heart glows blue, and then returns again to its normal red zombie color. So she realizes that this is the effect of the white blood, and understands that Baiba injected him with it before he died, and gives Ikoma his sister's stone.